Hey guys, Anthony here, AFT Dog Training. I was passed along some videos again today, just asking what my thoughts were, and on dog training videos. And again, this is why, if there's one thing that I've learned in life and being in touch with our group of trainers and stuff is, you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Don't put out a post calling out other trainers on their work or whatnot, because there's probably footage out there of you not doing the best work either. And everyone will critique that, and then it will just go downhill from there. So I mean, everybody in any job that they do, there's always going to be need for improvement. In the dog training world, even us, always need for improvement. We're always looking, going to seminars, things like that, reading up. When you make a public statement and calling out trainers and whatnot by name, it's really, really bad. I mean, your work better be pristine, top notch. I mean, things like that. So if you're saying that you're using the clicker in a proper way and the perfect way, and you're giving other clicker trainers crap, your clicker work better be good. If not, just there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism, but it's when you're calling another trainer an animal abuser, or you're threatening to call the police on that trainer over something that's so ridiculous and mundane. That's where it's, come on, you're causing a riot. So for us, when we're using even let's say remote collar, not every dog that comes to us goes on remote collar. We do basic obedience, 1, 2. Most of that's treat or clicker work. We will pick out a proper tool for the dog if we don't see it's working out for the owner and that particular dog in those classes or whatnot. So I mean, we don't use a remote collar on every dog that comes to our training. But to say that, let's say when we're teaching remote, even when we're teaching remote collar class tonight, so I'm teaching remote collar class, a prerequisite to come into the class is having basic obedience passed. They must pass the class. So a lot of that is what we go over in our basic obedience is treat work, structure within the home, things like this. Now we'll be laying in remote collar, and for the most part we are working on very low levels of the stim unit or TENS unit or remote collar, whatever you want to call it. Again, there's no electrical tasering going in between the remote collar, not like a police taser. So when we're laying that down, we're training the dog on the remote collar now. By the end of the class, the dog should know better. We're not going to higher levels unless called for. Alright? So when you go to a higher level, I don't care if you're in 20, 30, 50, those are called corrective levels, in my opinion. So that means the dog did not understand the remote collar on the low level, and you went up to a higher level to give the dog correction. So that's very similar, and I use my kids a lot in this. I know dogs and humans are not the same thing, all right? But it starts getting people to think and relate, because the movement of just treating the dog like a human is doing a disservice to the dog that you own. You know what I'm saying? So respect the dog for being a dog and what kind of breed it is, and etc. Blah, 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 blah. So, but it starts getting them to think, if they are starting to get that out of the humanizing of the dog, but to start to get them to think that, you know what, I can relate to that. I know what you're saying. So if one of my children I say to go sit on that chair or go sit on the couch I'm cooking, and the kid says to me, no, I may go over and grab his hand and guide him over to the couch. Now remember, there's pressure from my hand being placed onto his hand and bringing him over to the couch. That would be aversive pressure to my child to bring him over to the couch. Now, if I ask my kid to go sit on the couch and he gives me the finger and runs away, there might be a little bit more pressure, and I'm going to tell him to sit on the couch and don't do that ever again to me. That would be a little bit higher correction with a little bit more pressure. We've all done it. We've all been there. So that's what we're using on remote collar, but remotely, on a low level, from a distance, asking for the dog's attention and having them coming back to us. But when you're going up on the 20, 30, 50 levels, even 100, don't do that again. Now, of course, the training should be in there prior, and then you can lay down a correction, right? To say that these things are not happening is like lying to the public. I don't understand where it's coming from, that we're not using it. Some people go into levels of 60 or 70 and saying it's not a correction. I don't understand that. What is it then? What are you doing on the level 60 or 70 and training wise, and not saying that you're not reprimanding some type of behavior or training or whatever you're doing? I have no idea. So I can't even speak about it. I have no. The only thing I know, in my opinion, is that's a correction. All right, that's what I'll speak about. But if somebody's saying it's not, then I don't understand what they're just saying. So, do we use remote collar for corrections? Yes. Do we use a leash for a correction? If you ever take the leash and just go like a little slight, I don't care if you have a buckle collar, harness, correction. So, do almost 99% of people, most people use a leash correction? Yeah, they might not be aware of it, but they are doing it. Just having that leash on the dog and that dog feeling any type of pressure is going to be a correction if you know it or not. All right? So you're giving some kind of pressure on the dog. The dog starts shutting off the correction, and they'll pull through. So when you get a dog that comes to training or something, they're pulling through stuff, that's because they're shutting it off. Humans do this too. I mean, if we're in severe pain, like with my back, for instance, I'll start shutting off the pain, like mentally. Like it's causing me mental anguish, but I'm just shutting off the pain. So this is just my 2 cents on some videos that I've seen out there, and people are asking me questions about it, and you know what's going on here, because some of the stuff that's going on is some of the most respected trainers in the world and stuff, and I'm just saying, you know what, that doesn't, for me, it doesn't sound right. But I mean, it is what it is. That's why we post, like I did some live video footage yesterday, unedited. Training is not always pretty. Alright? And that could go with anything in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you could have, even if there was cameras in my children's classrooms, let's say, there could be kids fighting and doing things in the back of the classroom, teachers not paying attention, maybe. Who knows? You know? Thank God there's cameras, because people would be saying stuff. You know, that some parents are already all over their kids' stuff already. So, I mean, it's not always pretty. So, you know, there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to talk smack on video footage and stuff like that. But that's why we try to be as open as possible in all the training that we do, without trying to cause any confusion. So, do we use treats? Yes. Do we use clickers? Yes. Do we use martingales? Yes. Do we use prong collars? Yes. Do we use remote collars? Yes. Not big fans of harnesses. You probably won't see them in my classes. Right up front with that stuff. Are you going to use a treat and cause your dog mental anguish? Almost all that's going to happen. So, dog might be confused. You're trying to get them to sit in the very beginning stages. Dog may be confused and be like, I really want the treat, and you're causing them mental anguish doing that. Yeah, that's going to happen. And that's in the reality of almost any training class you go to. So, do you get a dog that come in and is like go happy, ready to work, and they are like, let's say a working breed, they're ready to go. Their mind is ready to go. Yeah, and that dog may be a lot easier to train than dogs like we've had come through too, like dogs that were used for fighting in the pit bull rings or whatnot. Dogs that were hit over the head with hatchets from humans. Those type of things. There's a lot of behavior things you have to address as well as the training part. Right, so just my 2 cents again. Thanks for watching, and anytime I get any footage or something and people are asking my opinion, I'll post it on here. I don't care. My daughter's already sleeping back here. Dropping her off to school, then heading in the train. Alright guys, take care.